Mary Ciancio, the Ciancio family, was known in Adams County for being an integral part of the community for years. You got to remember, in 1957, there was no such thing as community mental health. And so she advocated to expand what she saw as a huge need, which it was, for mental health services in not only in Adams County, but everywhere.
Thank you for tuning back to another episode of Reach for Wellness. This is a show where we explore individuals' personal journeys and how they can reach for their own wellness. I'm your host, Vanessa Alarcon, and I'm a manager here at Community Reach Center. In today's episode, we're going to have Rick Doucet. Rick is the CEO of Community Reach Center. Rick, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Rick, tell us, what is your role here at Community Reach Center, CEO?
A CEO is kind of like someone who has to see the future of where an organization is going, what to expect, how to deal with the pitfalls, and hopefully be smarter than everybody else that's doing the same thing out there. So it's kind of like a multitude of things, not one thing.
Yeah, so it sounds like, definitely the role you have to, of course, be in the present to as part of that role, but you also, you're looking into the future. You're thinking about...
President is actually the least of the things that part of this job. That's your job.
That is my job.
We have a lot of good staff. Their job is in the present. My job is really in the future, because dealing with things like the economy, dealing with legislation, dealing with the community, it's things that may or may not have happened yet. Trying to get ahead of where the situation is in order to lead an organization to make it stable to provide services for the people that we're here to provide services for.
That's awesome, Rick. Tell us a bit more about how you got into community mental health.
I went into psychology out of high school and college. I intended to be a psychologist in private practice. When I graduated with my master's, I started working in public mental health and had a private practice. And my private practice, we had 3 or 4 people that worked for me, and then we'd see about 500 or 600 people a year. And in public mental health, we'd see upwards of 20 or 30,000. And I got into this business to make a difference. So I felt like my talents were better utilized in public mental health than it was in private practice.
Well, Rick, it sounds like you found an area of great impact, and community mental health does have great impact. It really is focusing on making sure people get the care they need in the community. There is someone that was a big champion for this, and it was Mary Ciancio. Tell us, who is Mary Ciancio? And I will tell you, Rick, I've personally been interested in this as well, because I've worked out of the Mary Ciancio Memorial Building for years, and so I'm generally very curious to learn more about her.
Mary Ciancio, the Ciancio family, was known in Adams County for being an integral part of the community for years. I mean, a long time. And Mary Ciancio advocated in lots of different areas, mental health, schools, and she was one of the people originally that started Adams Community Mental Hygiene Clinic, which today is Community Reach Center, in 1957. She was one of the originators and was a huge advocate for mental health in the state. That became her mantra in what she did the final years of her life. She was known for advocating in the local community, at the county, at the state level. She was a great lady.
Paint a picture for us, Rick. When you say, she advocated at a local level, state level, what does that actually mean?
She worked with legislators. She worked with the state representatives. She worked with anybody that she could influence to fund mental health. You got to remember, in 1957, there was no such thing as community mental health. Community mental health came about after John F. Kennedy signed a bill in the 60s. So this was before there was a such thing as community mental health. And so she advocated to expand what she saw as a huge need, which it was, for mental health services in not only in Adams County, but everywhere.
I have to ask about the title Hygiene Clinic. Are you aware if that's how we referred to mental health back then, or where's the hygiene part come into this?
I have no idea. This was the first time I had ever heard it used.
Wow.
Most places were child guidance centers before community mental health. Yeah, mental hygiene was new to me. I had never heard that term used before.
Yeah, it's amazing how semantics change over time. So you mentioned how she was involved in different advocacy efforts, but also was crucial in founding a Community Reach Center. Talk to us more about why is her legacy so important to Community Reach Center specifically?
Because of her advocacy, Community Reach Center built its first building over in Commerce City. She was able to convince the county to donate the land.
They donated the land?
Yes, they donated the land.
Wow.
And helped to raise money to be able to grow Community Reach Center. When it started in '57, there were 3 employees. And today we are over 300 employees. So things have to start somewhere, and she was one of the founding members of what started the center.
Wow. I'm just trying to think of, the boldness to move forward and say, we need this, like we need the land, we need the funding. I mean, that takes a lot of passion.
It does take a lot of passion. It takes a lot of passion and a lot of time. And it's one of those things that is hard to convince people that if you're going to do something, you have to be passionate about it. And people go, well, I like doing it. It's not the same thing. People get into this business, into mental health, because of the passion. That's why I got into it. I wanted to make a difference. Today, for a lot of people, it's a job. Not necessarily a passion, but it's something they like doing. That's a big difference. When I started in this field, mental health was not exactly accepted. There was a lot of stigma. I worked a lot of school districts in Dallas County before I came to Colorado. And it was amazing because we would get a lot of referrals for kids, and during the summer we couldn't find them because people just, they don't need it now. Well, things have changed a lot. Stigma has dropped. And people are accepting and realizing mental health services is very important to their wellness. It's not something that everybody gravitates towards. People were always afraid with stigma that, you're mentally ill, I can catch it. And they didn't understand it and they didn't try. Now we have mental health first aid to help people understand it. And I know you've had some podcasts about mental health first aid. Mm-hmm. It's important for people to understand this is just a cycle of life. Everybody needs a little help sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciate you painting that picture of how people need help in different phases and different times, and help looks different for overall wellness. And being able to get help when someone needs it, it takes different resources. And at Community Reach Center, we provide so many different services for people in different stages of what they're needing, to like more intense inpatient to the world I live in, Community Reach, to the outpatient, and let's just meet you where we are and get you what you need. So to think, my role of that, I'm like, I'm doing my role, but years ago, someone was out here, there were people like Mary Ciancio that really charted the path forward and created a path. And so we at Community Reach Center honor the legacy of Mary Ciancio. So tell us about this event that we're hosting in April. What is it all about?
This is the 41st Mary Ciancio Volunteer Dinner. My predecessor wanted to recognize Mary Ciancio for all the work she did for the center. And he proposed the volunteer dinner back in the late 70s. And the board of directors felt that it was something that was to help spur volunteerism and recognize people for the good work they do. And it has been a part of the center for 41 years. We had a short period because of the pandemic that we did not hold it, but now we're back, and hope to recognize the volunteers that really put themselves out there and go above and beyond like Mary did.
That's incredible. So if someone were to attend the event, what would they expect?
They will hear a lot about the people who have been nominated for Volunteer of the Year and about the good work they did, and meet volunteers and be able to talk to people about the different things that they were into or shared, and possibly get somebody else excited to get out there and volunteer.
Yeah. Well, and it makes a difference when people are able to find an area of need and put in their time to make a difference. And that's a theme that I've heard from you today, Rick, is, how do we find opportunities to make a difference in our community? And we are honoring the individuals that are doing that actively in our community, and maybe people that are unsung heroes, people that we may not know. And this is a time to really just showcase and say, look at the people that are doing amazing things in Adams County.
Passion is the basis for any volunteer. It's got to be something you believe in, something that you feel you can make a difference at. And it's, for some people, it's what gets them up in the morning. I've known a lot of volunteers that volunteered later in life, especially when they retired, because they felt like it was their time that they could do what they wanted to do, and they found exactly what they wanted to do. And it was volunteering. It wasn't working. It wasn't a job. It was giving back to the community on something they truly felt important.
Exactly, yeah. And we can all identify those things for ourselves in different phases of our life to say, yeah, I really care about this and I want to get out there and make a difference. So as we close out, Rick, what is one message you'd like to leave listeners with today?
We need to look beyond ourselves. It's easy in times, especially tough times, to focus on oneself and one's family and forget about everything else that's going on out there and the troubles that some people are facing. And realize maybe I have something that could help somebody. It's not necessarily has to be money or anything. Just I can get out there and I can show somebody how to do something, or I can participate in an organization to help them extend their mission. Because we tend to focus too much on ourselves. It's easy to do. And sometimes when things are going tough, you sort of want to crawl into your shell and just say, well, I'll just take care of mine. When the reality is, if we're going to change anything, if we're going to change the direction of some of the things that go on today, we have to be out there to let people know that we need to do that. And it's important for all of us, not just some of us.
That's great, Rick. Well, thank you so much for your time and for giving us a glimpse into some Adams County history and how Community Reach Center is present here because of the great efforts of people so long time ago. So thanks, Rick.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Reach for Wellness. We have this event coming up in April, and so definitely check out our social media sites to see how you can nominate someone that is making a difference in Adams County, or how you can be part of the event. I encourage you to follow us, send us a DM at Community Reach Center. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and other social media platforms. And I hope you also tune in to another episode. We are on YouTube, and we're also on other podcast platforms. Pick your favorite one, we're probably there. Next month, we are going to have Myra on the show. And Myra will be talking to us about Mental Health Awareness Month, an important month, of course, for Community Reach Center. We hope you tune in and see you next time.